The new EDP445 documentary is finally out, and after watching the full thing, one thing becomes painfully clear. The internet turned EDP445 into a meme years ago, but the reality behind that meme is much darker than most people probably realize. This documentary doesn't just revisit the infamous 2021 sting. It gives you an extended look at EDP himself, his behavior, his mindset, his history, and most importantly, the things he is willing to openly admit on camera. And some of those admissions are extremely disturbing. One of the most serious moments comes when EDP is asked directly about why he went to meet the person he believed was a 13-year-old girl.
That day, why did you go to that location? What did you think was going to happen?
I showed up to that location that day, trying to obviously meet up with an underage girl. You know what I mean? And I guess you can say trying to have sex. I don't know. I mean, whatever.
You trying to have sex with a 13-year-old girl?
For the most part, yep. People have a tendency of doing this, I feel like, because they enjoy the innocence and having control of somebody, you know?
Sounds like that's what you wanted to do.
Right.
Nobody your age you could have hung out with.
No.
No women your age you could date. You had to pick on a 13-year-old girl.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh my God, babe, it's a playful spank, you say. When I spank you, it's supposed to be sexy, LOL. If anything, I just bend you over and kiss your ass. Yes, well, maybe, but only if you're a good girl. What are you trying to do here with this?
What do you think I'm trying to do?
Well, it sounds like you're trying to sexually assault a 13-year-old girl.
If that's what it looks like, I guess that's what it is then. I mean...
Handcuff you. Throw you in the back of my car and bring you back to my dungeon, LOL. You talk about climbing through a window.
Mm-hmm.
You're so hot and cute and even had me jerking off. Were you masturbating when you were talking to her?
Mm-hmm.
You sent her pictures?
Yeah.
You sent her pictures of your penis?
Yeah.
It's wrong.
Right, I know.
It's illegal. Had Alex Rosen not botched this, you might be in prison right now.
Thank God
He doesn't really try to deny what he was there for. He acknowledges that he went there intending to meet an underage girl and admits that sex was the ultimate goal. That's important because we're not talking about somebody merely being accused of having a particular intention. We're talking about EDP himself describing what he says he intended to do. The documentary also revisits the messages and other evidence surrounding that encounter, including sexually explicit conversations and photographs that were allegedly exchanged with someone he believed was a minor. And EDP's reaction to all of this is honestly one of the most disturbing parts. There isn't the kind of remorse or horror you'd expect when someone is confronted with behavior this serious. Instead, he often appears completely comfortable discussing it. At times, he even seems amused by the fact that he isn't sitting in prison. That brings up the biggest question surrounding this entire story. How did all of this happen, and why didn't the original investigation result in a criminal conviction? Because that's where this documentary becomes bigger than just EDP445. It becomes a case study in what can happen when online predator investigations are handled primarily as content instead of being carefully built around what prosecutors and law enforcement actually need. The people involved in the various EDP stings clearly believed they were exposing a predator, but exposing...
Christian, you definitely watch porn. Come on, nigga. Let's stop lying.
the craziest place I actually did beat my shit is in a fucking Walgreens bathroom. I stole a magazine off the rack, and I went in that bitch and I just started fucking letting my shit have it in that bathroom. I ain't give a fuck. In the girls' bathroom, by the way.
Why the girls' bathroom?
I wanted to make it, well, I beat off in the girls' bathroom because I wanted to make it that much more fucking pleasurable and fucking intense.
Because the girls would be around?
Hell yeah. You already fucking know.
Someone and successfully prosecuting someone are two completely different things. And that's something this documentary does a surprisingly good job of showing. Instead of simply presenting the people who confronted EDP as heroes, the film examines the mistakes that were made and how those mistakes ultimately contributed to EDP remaining free. That's particularly important because there was concern before the documentary came out that it might glorify internet predator catchers or turn the entire situation into another piece of entertainment. After seeing the full documentary, I don't think that's what it's doing. If anything, it shows the opposite. The EDP case demonstrates why these investigations need to be handled properly. Because when evidence is collected incorrectly, when procedures aren't followed, or when the primary goal becomes making a viral video, the person being exposed can still walk away without facing the consequences that everyone expected. and EDP has clearly enjoyed reminding people of that fact. The documentary also goes beyond the original controversy. It spends a significant amount of time showing what EDP's life looks like now and examining the kind of person he presents himself as being, and that's where things get even stranger. His online life, his interests, his obsession with certain internet personalities, his attitude toward women, and his fascination with violence all become part of the larger picture. One particularly bizarre detail is his admiration for figures like Andrew Tate.
Guys to the real fucking gangsters of the fucking internet, you know what I mean? First up, we got Andrew Tate. He likes to preach about men and women not being equal because they're not fucking equal. Next up, we got my motherfucking main bitch, Donald fucking Trump. We got my man Joe Rogan. This guy's a fucking beast, man. I love this bald-headed ass bitch, you know what I mean? We got Fresh and Fit. In his podcast, he's always shitting on fucking women. Yeah, it's fucking, I love that bitch. Andrew Tate's brother, so yeah, you already fucked. That's enough said. On to my motherfucking main nigga, Ben Shapiro. Listen to him and you'll be great in life. Sneeko, guy is cool as fuck. Sneeko, if you're watching this shit, come on out to Vegas, man. I'll treat you to some fucking tacos. Next up, we got Pearl Davis. Love this hoe because she shits on women and she is a fucking woman, you know what I mean? These are the certified OGs of the internet.
The documentary shows just how heavily EDP has embraced certain online personalities and ideologies to the point where images associated with them are literally part of his personal environment. And then you have some of the stories EDP tells about himself. Some of them are so bizarre that they almost sound like satire, but he's not presenting them as jokes. He's describing things he says he actually did. And once again, he often seems completely comfortable talking about behavior that most people would find deeply disturbing. That's probably one of the biggest takeaways from the documentary. EDP doesn't seem particularly interested in convincing people that he's misunderstood. Instead, he repeatedly talks about his own behavior in ways that make the situation even more difficult to comprehend. And that makes the documentary uncomfortable to watch, because underneath all the memes, the jokes, the reaction videos, and the internet culture surrounding EDP445 is a very serious subject. We're talking about allegations and admissions involving sexual interest in minors. We're talking about a failed investigation. We're talking about an individual who has repeatedly been confronted by internet personalities over his behavior and yet has continued living his life outside of prison. And we're talking about the consequences of treating serious criminal investigations like internet entertainment. That's ultimately what I think makes this documentary worth watching. It isn't simply another video saying, remember when EDP got caught? It tries to explain how we got here, how someone could become one of the most infamous figures on the internet, openly discuss incredibly serious behavior, repeatedly find himself at the center of investigations, and still remain largely outside the reach of the criminal justice system. And there's another detail that deserves attention. According to the documentary, proceeds are being donated to RAIN, an organization that supports survivors of sexual violence. That gives the project a purpose beyond simply revisiting one of the internet's most infamous scandals, because at the end of the day, this shouldn't just be about EDP445. The people who are actually harmed by sexual abuse are the ones who deserve the attention. EDP became a meme, his name became a punchline. People made jokes about him for years, but this documentary is a reminder that the underlying subject isn't funny. The allegations, the evidence, the admissions, and the failures surrounding the case are all extremely serious. And whatever you think about the people involved in the original sting, one thing is difficult to argue with. The way these cases are handled matters. If someone is genuinely dangerous, the goal shouldn't simply be to embarrass them in front of millions of people. The goal should be to build a case that can actually stand up in court. And the EDP445 story is one of the clearest examples of what can happen when that distinction gets lost. So if you've only experienced EDP through memes, clips, and internet jokes, this documentary gives you a completely different perspective. It's disturbing, uncomfortable, and at times genuinely difficult to watch. But that's also why I think it's worth discussing. Because behind the viral moments is a much more serious story about predatory behavior, internet vigilantism, failed investigations, and what happens when somebody can repeatedly escape consequences. And after watching the entire documentary, I think the biggest question isn't whether EDP445 is still an internet meme. It's how someone at the center of so much disturbing evidence and so many allegations has managed to remain out of prison for this long. That's the part of this story that shouldn't be forgotten. Peace.